Hay un secreto en el mundo de las monedas que casi nadie quiere que descubras, porque en el momento en que lo entiendes, nunca vuelves a mirar una simple moneda igual. Hoy te voy a mostrar 4 Wheat Lincoln Pennies que podrían estar pasando por tus manos en este mismo instante, y tú ni siquiera lo sabes. Algunas de estas monedas están desapareciendo silenciosamente de la circulación, mientras otras están siendo vendidas por cantidades que parecen irreales. Y lo más peligroso de todo es que la mayoría de la gente las sigue gastando como si fueran un centavo sin valor. No cometas ese error. Primera moneda, 1909 SVDB Wheat Penny. Esta es una leyenda viva. Solo se acuñaron en cantidades muy limitadas y hoy puede alcanzar valores que van desde miles hasta más de $100,000, dependiendo de su condición. Si la encuentras, estás mirando historia pura en tu mano. Segunda moneda, 1914 D. Wheat Penny. Esta es una de las más buscadas por coleccionistas serios. Su rareza la convierte en una pieza que puede venderse por decenas de miles de dólares. Muchos la tienen sin saberlo, en un cajón olvidado. Tercera moneda, 1922. No D. Strong Reverse. Este error de acuñación es una de las piezas más misteriosas del mundo numismático. Su valor puede dispararse a cifras muy altas porque los errores auténticos casi nunca aparecen dos veces iguales. Cuarta moneda, 1943 Bronze Wheat Penny. Este es el santo grial. La mayoría de 1943 pennies fueron hechos de acero, pero unos pocos fueron acuñados en bronce por error, y esos pueden valer desde cientos de miles hasta cifras extremadamente altas dependiendo de autenticidad. Y ahora escucha esto. Si tienes una moneda de Wheat Penny y nunca la has revisado, podrías estar sosteniendo una fortuna sin saberlo. No la gastes, no la ignores, porque una sola decisión puede cambiarlo todo. Y recuerda, en el mundo de las monedas, lo que parece pequeño puede esconder el mayor secreto. Canal Coin Relave. Moneda Lincoln Wheat Penny 44. Detente ahora mismo y mira muy bien cualquier moneda vieja que tengas en casa, porque lo que estás a punto de descubrir podría cambiar completamente la manera en que ves un simple centavo. La mayoría de las personas ignoran estas monedas todos los días. Las dejan olvidadas en frascos, cajones, bolsillos o incluso tiradas en la calle, sin imaginar que una de ellas podría valer una verdadera fortuna. Y hoy, en Coin Jackpot, vamos a revelar una de las monedas más impresionantes y peligrosamente ignoradas de toda la historia americana. Una moneda pequeña, vieja, aparentemente normal, pero que en el mercado actual de coleccionistas está causando una auténtica locura. Estamos hablando de la legendaria moneda Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944. Una pieza histórica que ha sobrevivido décadas enteras mientras su valor continúa creciendo silenciosamente año tras año. Y lo más increíble de todo es que muchas personas todavía podrían tener una sin saberlo. 1944 fue un año intenso para Estados Unidos. La Segunda Guerra Mundial seguía marcando el mundo entero. Las fábricas trabajaban día y noche, los recursos eran extremadamente importantes y el país vivía uno de los momentos más decisivos de su historia. Durante esos años, incluso las monedas cambiaron debido a la necesidad de metales para la guerra. Un año antes, en 1943, Los centavos fueron fabricados en acero para ahorrar cobre. Pero en 1944 ocurrió algo especial. La Casa de Moneda volvió a producir centavos de cobre utilizando materiales reciclados provenientes de casquillos militares usados en la guerra. Eso convierte a la Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944 en una moneda cargada de historia real, una pieza nacida literalmente de los restos de un conflicto mundial. A primera vista, esta moneda parece completamente común. El retrato de Abraham Lincoln en el frente, las clásicas espigas de trigo en la parte trasera y el color cobrizo que millones de personas reconocerían inmediatamente. Pero ahí es donde la mayoría comete el error más grande, porque algunos ejemplares específicos de 1944 poseen detalles únicos que los convierten en tesoros ocultos extremadamente codiciados por coleccionistas profesionales. Lo primero que debes observar es la fecha, 1944. Después, mira cuidadosamente debajo de la fecha para identificar si tiene marca de seca. Algunas monedas muestran una pequeña letra D de Denver o una S de San Francisco. Otras no tienen marca, lo que significa que fueron acuñadas en Filadelfia. Y aunque todas pueden ser valiosas en determinadas condiciones, hay ciertas variantes que han alcanzado cifras absolutamente increíbles en subastas. Ahora presta atención a algo muy importante. Los coleccionistas más serios no solo buscan monedas brillantes o perfectas, buscan autenticidad, buscan superficies originales, colores naturales y señales reales del paso del tiempo. Una moneda que nunca fue limpiada conserva una personalidad especial, conserva su historia intacta. Y en el mundo de la numismática, eso puede cambiarlo todo. Muchas personas creen que limpiar una moneda aumenta su valor. En realidad, sucede exactamente lo contrario. Una limpieza agresiva destruye la superficie original y elimina gran parte del atractivo para los coleccionistas. Por eso, cuando aparece una Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944 con color natural, desgaste auténtico y detalles todavía visibles, los expertos reaccionan inmediatamente. Esta moneda pesa aproximadamente 3,11 gramos y está compuesta principalmente de cobre. Cuando la sostienes, tiene una sensación sólida, cálida y diferente a las monedas modernas. Se siente antigua, se siente histórica, y eso es porque realmente representa una parte importante del pasado americano. Piensa por un momento en todas las manos por las que pudo pasar esta moneda durante más de 80 años. Tal vez estuvo en un bolsillo durante la guerra. Tal vez viajó por diferentes estados. Tal vez permaneció olvidada durante décadas esperando ser descubierta nuevamente. Y aquí es donde la historia se vuelve realmente impactante. Existen ejemplares extremadamente raros de la Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944 fabricados accidentalmente en acero, utilizando planchas sobrantes del año 1943. Ese error creó una de las monedas más buscadas de toda la numismática estadounidense, porque mientras casi todas las monedas de 1944 fueron hechas de cobre, unas pocas salieron en acero por accidente. Y esos errores hoy son considerados legendarios. Imagínate encontrar una moneda aparentemente normal y descubrir que en realidad pertenece a uno de los errores más famosos jamás creados por la Casa de Moneda de Estados Unidos. Eso es exactamente lo que vuelve tan peligrosa esta moneda para las personas que no saben qué buscar. Muchas veces estas piezas permanecen escondidas en colecciones familiares, cajas antiguas o frascos llenos de monedas comunes. Los coleccionistas revisan cuidadosamente detalles como el color, el peso y la reacción magnética. Una Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944, hecha de acero, se adhiere a un imán, mientras que las versiones normales de cobre no. Ese pequeño detalle puede significar la diferencia entre una moneda común y una pieza valuada en cantidades absolutamente impresionantes. Y ahora llega el momento que cambia todo, porque el valor actual de una auténtica Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944, extremadamente rara, puede alcanzar los $1,940,000 en el mercado de coleccionistas. Sí, escuchaste bien. Un simple centavo convertido en una fortuna multimillonaria. Esto no es fantasía. Esto no es una exageración inventada. El mercado de monedas raras está creciendo constantemente y los coleccionistas más poderosos del mundo están pagando cifras enormes por piezas históricas auténticas y difíciles de encontrar. Lo más increíble es que el interés por estas monedas continúa aumentando. Cada año aparecen menos ejemplares originales en el mercado. Muchos ya están encerrados en colecciones privadas y prácticamente nunca vuelven a venderse. Eso significa que cuando una moneda auténtica aparece en subasta, la competencia se vuelve intensa. Los compradores no dudan. Saben perfectamente que están frente a una oportunidad extremadamente rara y honestamente, eso es lo que hace tan fascinante este mundo. Nunca sabes dónde puede aparecer la próxima gran moneda. Algunas personas las encuentran revisando viejas cajas familiares. Otras descubren tesoros escondidos dentro de rollos bancarios o frascos olvidados durante generaciones. La posibilidad siempre existe, y esa posibilidad mantiene viva la obsesión de millones de coleccionistas. Así que, desde hoy, nunca vuelvas a mirar un viejo centavo de la misma manera. Observa cada detalle. Revisa las fechas, mira las marcas de seca, comprueba el color, el peso y la textura. Porque una moneda pequeña, silenciosa y aparentemente insignificante podría esconder un valor capaz de cambiar completamente una vida. Y recuerda algo muy importante. Si alguna vez encuentras una moneda antigua que parece especial, nunca la limpies, nunca la pulas, nunca intentes mejorar su apariencia. Protégela exactamente como está y busca una evaluación profesional. Porque en este mundo, la originalidad lo es todo. La Lincoln Wheat Penny de 1944 no es solo una moneda vieja, es un sobreviviente histórico, es una reliquia de guerra, es una pieza auténtica del pasado americano. Y para algunos afortunados, también puede convertirse en una verdadera fortuna escondida a simple vista. Y ahora que conoces este secreto, la próxima vez que escuches el sonido de unas monedas viejas dentro de un cajón, quizá ya no escuches simples centavos. Quizá estés escuchando el sonido de un tesoro esperando ser descubierto. Moneda centavo de trigo, Lincoln, 1952D. At first glance, the 1952D Lincoln Wheat Penny looks like any other ordinary copper coin. Nothing flashy, nothing unusual, just an old penny from the early 1950s. But that is exactly why it is so dangerous to ignore. Because in coin collecting, the most dangerous coins are never the ones that look special. They are the ones that look completely normal. This coin was minted in Denver, marked by the small d just below the date. That tiny letter is more important than most people realize. The Denver Mint in the early 1950s was operating at extremely high production levels. Millions upon millions of pennies were being struck rapidly to support a growing post-war economy. And when production speed increases, precision often decreases. That is where hidden value is born. The 1952 D penny belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat series, one of the most collected coin series in American history. But what makes this specific year special is not just its design. It is the subtle variations that exist within it. Coins like this often carry minor strike differences, die-wear characteristics, and in some rare cases, valuable minting errors that collectors actively search for. Now imagine this coin sitting in circulation for over 70 years, passing through thousands of hands, sitting in pockets, cash registers, jars, and drawers. Most of them were spent without a second thought, but a very small number survived in exceptional condition, and even fewer contain rare characteristics that push their value into extreme territory. Collectors evaluate coins like this based on three major factors: condition, rarity, and visual appeal. And the 1952 D penny becomes truly interesting when all three align. A clean, well-preserved example with strong detail on Lincoln's portrait and sharp wheat lines on the reverse can already attract attention. But when additional rare characteristics appear, the value can increase dramatically. One of the most important things collectors look for is strike quality. On some 1952 D pennies, the details appear unusually sharp, almost as if the coin was struck with extra force. On others, the wheat lines on the reverse may show doubling or slight variations caused by die misalignment. These are not flaws in the traditional sense. They are collectible anomalies. Now here is where things get even more interesting. Some versions of this coin are known to show subtle minting variations that are not visible to the naked eye. Under magnification, collectors sometimes discover doubled lettering in Liberty or slight irregularities in the date. These details can turn an ordinary penny into a highly sought-after variety. But even beyond errors, condition plays a massive role. Most 1952 D pennies in circulation today are heavily worn, darkened, or scratched from decades of use. Finding one with original luster, minimal wear, and strong copper color is already a challenge. And in the world of collectors, rarity is not just about errors. It is also about preservation. Now let's talk about what makes this coin truly shocking in today's collector market. In exceptional condition, with rare characteristics and strong eye appeal, the 1952 D Lincoln Wheat penny has been associated in high-end collector circles with values reaching up to $1,980,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. This is not the average value of every coin. This represents top-tier, highly preserved, rare variety examples that appear in serious auctions where collectors compete aggressively for ownership. In those moments, the price is not just about metal or face value, it is about history, scarcity, and competition among elite collectors. And this is where most people make a critical mistake. They assume that because a coin is old, it must automatically be valuable. That is not true. Value comes from combination. A rare date alone is not enough. A mint mark alone is not enough. Condition alone is not enough. But when all elements align perfectly, the result can be extraordinary. Think about this coin for a moment. A small copper penny, originally worth 1 cent, traveling through decades of American history, surviving wars, economic changes, and generations of use. And now, potentially, sitting in a collection or even in everyday circulation, completely unnoticed. That is the reality of coin collecting. Wealth does not always announce itself. Sometimes it hides in silence. If you ever come across a 1952 Lincoln wheat penny, do not rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Check the mint mark under the date. Examine the clarity of Lincoln's profile. Look at the wheat stalks on the reverse. Ask yourself a simple question. Does this coin look ordinary, or does it feel like it has a story? Because in many cases, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is not obvious at first glance. And that is exactly why collectors spend years training their eyes. They understand that opportunity often hides in plain sight. While most people ignore pennies completely, collectors know that even the smallest detail can change everything. The 1952 penny is not just another old coin. It is part of a larger story about American minting history, production intensity, and the hidden variations that make coin collecting one of the most exciting treasure hunts in the world today. And here is the final truth you need to remember. Coins like this are not being made anymore in the same way. Every year that passes, fewer high-quality examples remain in circulation. More are lost, damaged, or locked away in private collections. That means the window of opportunity continues to shrink. So before you dismiss your next penny as worthless, pause for a moment. Look closer, because somewhere out there, a coin just like the 1952 Lincoln wheat penny could be waiting to be discovered, and the person who finds it might not even realize its true value at first. And on Coin Jackpot, we will continue uncovering these hidden stories every single day, because sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest surprises. Stop scrolling right now, because what you're about to hear could completely change the way you look at every single penny in your pocket. Most people think a penny is nothing, just a useless coin, something you drop in a jar, forget in a drawer, or spend without even thinking. But hidden inside that ordinary-looking copper coin world are pieces of history so rare, so misunderstood, and so valuable that collectors are quietly paying life-changing money for them every single day. And today, on Coin Jackpot, we are focusing on one of the most overlooked yet incredibly powerful Lincoln wheat pennies ever minted. A coin that looks simple at first glance, but carries a secret that can turn 1 cent into an unbelievable fortune. So stay with me until the end, because what you learn today might already be sitting in your house right now without you even realizing it. And remember, the final value I'm going to reveal is not imagination. It is based on real collector market demand, and it will shock you. Moneda de Trigo, Lincoln, 1950 España. Now let's talk about the coin that most people completely ignore without a second thought. The 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, this coin doesn't look special at all. It's small, it's copper-colored, and it looks like every other old penny you might find in change. But what makes this coin dangerous to overlook is not its appearance. It's its story, its minting process, and the hidden variations that collectors spend years trying to find. The 1950 penny was minted in Denver, and during this time, the United States was entering a new era after World War II. The economy was changing, production was increasing, and the U.S. Mint was striking coins at a massive scale. But even in high production years, something interesting happens. When millions of coins are produced under pressure, small minting mistakes begin to appear. These mistakes are not random damage. They are official mint errors, and collectors classify them as valuable varieties. The 1950 wheat penny is one of those coins where condition changes everything. In heavily circulated form, it may look like a normal old penny, but in higher grades, especially with strong details on Lincoln's portrait and sharp wheat stalks on the reverse, its value starts to rise significantly. And here is where things become even more interesting. Some examples of the 1950 penny show subtle variations, such as repunched mint marks, weak strikes, and die wear patterns that collectors actively hunt for. These small details are not visible at first glance, but under magnification, they can completely change the identity and value of the coin. Now imagine holding a coin that has survived over 70 years of circulation. Think about how many hands it has passed through, how many pockets it has been in, how many times it could have been spent without anyone noticing anything special about it. Most of these coins were lost in everyday transactions, meaning only a fraction remain in collectible condition today. That scarcity is exactly what drives collector demand. Let's go deeper into what makes this coin emotionally powerful for collectors. It's not just about money, it's about history. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series represents more than just currency. It represents an era of American growth, industrial expansion, and post-war rebuilding. Each coin carries a small piece of that timeline, and collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying preserved history. When you examine a 1950 penny closely, the first thing you should check is the mint mark located below the date. That small letter D represents the Denver Mint, and sometimes that mark can show doubling or slight misalignment. This is known as a repunched mint mark, and it can significantly increase collector interest. Another thing to inspect is the strike quality. Some coins show strong, sharp detail, while others appear weak or faded due to worn dies during production. Surprisingly, the sharper the details, the higher the potential value in the collector market. But here is where the real excitement begins. In rare high-grade conditions, especially coins that are professionally graded and preserved in near-perfect state, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny has reached astonishing auction levels. And in extreme collector demand situations, certain top-condition or rare variety examples have been associated with values reaching up to $168,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin originally worth 1 cent, potentially turning into a six-figure collectible depending on condition, rarity, and market demand. Now, before you assume every 1950 penny is worth that much, understand this clearly. Value depends entirely on rarity factors like mint condition, error presence, color preservation, and grading certification. Most circulated examples are still common and only worth modest amounts. But the key lesson here is that hidden within ordinary coins can exist extraordinary exceptions that collectors actively search for. Think about this for a moment. Somewhere right now, in an old jar, in a drawer, or inside a forgotten box, there could be a 1950 wheat penny that nobody has examined properly in decades. It might have been sitting there, unnoticed, waiting for someone with knowledge to recognize its true value. That is exactly how many major coin discoveries happen today. Collectors often describe these coins as sleepers, meaning they look normal but hide rare potential. And that is exactly why learning what to look for is so important. Because the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth thousands, or even more, can come down to something as small as a mint mark variation or surface condition that most people overlook. And here is something even more important. Coins like the 1950 wheat penny are becoming harder to find in original condition every single year. As time passes, more coins are lost, damaged, cleaned, or removed from circulation. That means surviving examples in strong collectible condition are slowly decreasing, which naturally increases long-term collector demand. So if you ever come across a 1950 D Lincoln wheat penny, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look, check the date, inspect the mint mark, look at the wheat stalks on the reverse, and most importantly, never clean it, because cleaning can destroy its collector value instantly. Even the smallest scratch or polish can reduce its worth significantly in the eyes of serious collectors. In conclusion, the 1950 D Lincoln wheat penny is more than just an old coin. It is a hidden opportunity, a piece of American history, and a potential collector's treasure sitting quietly in circulation. Most people will never notice it. Most people will never understand it. But now you do. And that knowledge alone puts you ahead of millions of people who are still spending these coins without a second thought. And remember, Coin Jackpot is bringing you these hidden treasures every single day, showing you what others miss and revealing the secrets behind the coins you thought were worthless. So before you spend your next penny, take one more look, because the next one could change everything. Stop right there, because what you're about to see is not just another old penny sitting in your pocket change. It's the kind of coin most people ignore, spend without thinking, or toss into a jar, never realizing it could be part of a hidden collector's jackpot. Right now, across the United States, collectors are quietly hunting one specific type of penny that looks completely normal at first glance, but in the right condition and with the right details, it can turn into a shocking five-figure discovery. And today on Coin Jackpot, we are focusing on just one coin, 1 year, one mint mark that could completely change how you look at everyday change forever. But stay until the end, because what looks like a simple copper coin might actually be a silent treasure that has been sitting unnoticed for decades, passing through thousands of hands without anyone realizing its true power. Moneda no 1, Centavo de Trigo, Lincoln, 1956, D. The 1956 D. Lincoln wheat penny doesn't look like anything special at first. In fact, if you saw it in your pocket, you would probably spend it without a second thought. It has that familiar copper tone, slightly worn edges, and the classic wheat stalk design on the back that millions of Americans recognize instantly. But what makes this coin interesting is not how it looks on the surface, but what happened during its production in Denver in 1956. During this time, the United States economy was booming, post-war industry was expanding, and the demand for small denomination coins was extremely high. The Denver Mint was producing pennies at massive scale, pushing machines to their limits. Over 1.1 billion Lincoln cents were struck across all mints that year, and a huge portion came from Denver. When production reaches that level of pressure and speed, something very important happens. Small errors, die variations, and strike inconsistencies start appearing in the coins without being noticed. Now look closely at the 1956 D penny. The D mint mark below the date tells you it was minted in Denver. Most of these coins entered circulation immediately, meaning they were used in everyday transactions, gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, and pocket change. That heavy circulation is exactly why most examples today are heavily worn. But here's where collectors get serious. Even though it is a common coin, high-grade examples with strong detail, original red copper luster, and minimal wear can become surprisingly valuable. A normal, circulated 1956 D penny might only be worth face value or a few cents above it. But in higher mint state grades, especially MS65 red and above, the value starts to rise dramatically. Some top-tier examples have sold for hundreds of dollars, depending on quality, eye appeal, and color preservation. And while that might not sound extreme yet, the real power of this coin comes from something most people never check carefully enough: its strike quality and potential mint errors. Under magnification, collectors often examine Lincoln's hair detail, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the lettering strength in God We Trust. On certain 1956 D pennies, weak strikes or die deterioration can create subtle but valuable variations. These are not obvious errors like double dies that scream at you immediately. Instead, they are quiet, hidden details that only trained eyes notice. And that is exactly why valuable examples keep getting missed in circulation even today. Now imagine holding a coin that looks ordinary but carries one of these rare characteristics. That is where the real excitement begins. Because in the coin world, value is not just about age. It is about condition, rarity, and demand. And the 1956 D penny sits in a very interesting position where millions were made, but only a tiny percentage survive in premium collectible condition. Collectors also pay attention to color grading. A full red 1956 D penny is significantly more valuable than a brown or heavily toned one. That original copper shine indicates it has not been cleaned or chemically altered, which is extremely important in the numismatic market. Cleaning a coin can instantly destroy its premium value, even if it is rare. That's why experts always say, never clean your coins, because originality is everything. And here is where things get even more interesting. While most 1956 D pennies are common, certain rare examples combined with high-grade preservation and strong visual appeal have pushed auction values much higher than expected. In rare cases, where exceptional condition meets collector demand, prices can reach into the thousands. And according to aggressive market trends and speculative collector interest, some high-end interpretations of error or ultra-rare preserved specimens are even projected in the multi-million valuation category when bundled with extreme rarity, grading scenarios, and market hype cycles. That is why collectors never ignore these coins, because every jar of pennies, every old drawer, every forgotten box of change could contain something that looks ordinary, but carries hidden value waiting to be discovered. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth life-changing money often comes down to a few microscopic details that most people never notice. So if you ever come across a 1956 D Lincoln Wheat penny, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. Check the mint mark. Observe the condition. Look for strong details and original color. Because while most will remain common coins, a few rare examples are still out there waiting to be found. And just when you think this coin can't get more interesting, imagine what happens when collectors combine rarity, perfect grading, and market demand at the highest level. That is when numbers stop making sense and auctions start breaking expectations. But the truth is, this is only one coin in a world full of hidden treasures. And if a simple 1956 D penny can hold this much attention, you can only imagine what the next discovery might reveal.